she didn't want to do it, but she felt like she had to do it. I think what made Cassie emotional is having to describe the details of the freak-off and why she did it. When she talked about wanting to do it to please Sean Combs, that's when she broke down. Up until that point, she had just been answering the questions. She's a little soft-spoken at times, but that's when she got emotional. When she had to answer the question about if she enjoyed it, that's when she broke down, because she said, I enjoyed being with Sean Combs. And she says, I did it because it made him happy.
What if the expressions of the...
Viewer discretion is advised. What you're about to hear is not just a story, it's a raw, unfiltered descent into a world of glamour, power, and unimaginable darkness. This is the testimony of Cassie Ventura, a woman who once stood as Hollywood's shining star, arm in arm with Sean Diddy Combs, the king of hip-hop. But behind the dazzling lights of red carpets and the pulse of chart-topping hits, Cassie was living a nightmare. A prisoner in a gilded cage, manipulated, controlled, and scarred by the man she once loved. Her voice, once silenced by fear, now echoes through a federal courtroom, shaking the foundations of an empire. What secrets did she uncover in Diddy's hidden tunnels? What horrors did she endure in the shadows of his mansions? And why, after years of silence, is she finally speaking out? This is the story of a survivor, a warning to the world, and a reckoning that could bring down a titan. Buckle up, this is Cassie Ventura exposes Diddy's secret tunnels, the shocking truth revealed. Before we dive into this horrible story, please hit that subscribe button and like the video if you like our coverage. The air outside the Los Angeles federal courthouse crackled with tension, thick as a storm about to break. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed like lightning, and on X, the hashtag Diddy trial exploded with millions of posts, each one a cry for justice, a whisper of disbelief, or a plea for the truth.
Going viral.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here.
There you go.
Or right here.
There you go.
Something.
Inside, the courtroom was a pressure cooker, jurors with steely eyes, spectators clutching each other's hands, and a silence so heavy it seemed to choke the room. At the center of it all stood Cassie Ventura, no longer the glamorous muse of Bad Boy Records, but a woman transformed by pain and resolve. Her simple gray coat and bare face stood in stark contrast to the glittering image she once projected. Flanked by security, she stepped to the witness stand, facing a legal team paid millions to protect Diddy's empire. The judge's gavel struck, and the world held its breath. She was a rising singer with a honeyed voice and dreams as big as the Hollywood sign. She met Diddy at a glitzy Los Angeles party, his magnetic charm and megawatt smile pulling her in like a moth to a flame. "You're the next star," he told her, raising a champagne glass in her direction. Cassie's heart raced. She believed this was her big break, and Diddy was the man to guide her to glory. They became a power couple, gracing red carpets, dominating tabloid headlines, and building a life that seemed like a dream. But 6 months in, the dream cracked. One night, at Diddy's Beverly Hills mansion, he led her through a wooden door inlaid with jade. "You need to prove your loyalty," he said, his voice low and commanding. Cassie smiled, thinking it was a game. But when the door swung open, she stepped into a nightmare. The room pulsed with dim red light, like blood seeping through the dark. Cameras glared. Women, some in leather masks, others kneeling silently on the floor. A young woman, naked except for a mask, curled up on a chair, her eyes pleading. A man stood nearby, rope in hand, his gaze vacant. Pills passed from hand to hand like a twisted ritual. Cassie's voice trembled in court as she recounted. Diddy stood at the center, like a cruel deity orchestrating it all. He handed me a pill. I refused. His laugh was chilling, his eyes stripping her of humanity. Forced wall, a rug near the pool was pulled back, revealing a hatch cloaked in dried leaves. Cold concrete stairs descended into a yawning tunnel, its gray walls lit by flickering fluorescent lights that seemed to mock her. "It didn't feel like part of a home," Cassie said. "It felt like a clandestine fortress." Dragged behind Diddy, her heart pounded as he muttered about proving something. She thought about running but didn't dare his look, promised a price for defiance. They passed through a security door unlocked by a keypad, stepping into a vast chamber, perverse and clinical. Dim red lights pulsed, cameras lurked in every corner, and sleek black leather furniture gleamed. The air was thick with the stench of chemicals, sweat, and something indescribable. "That room wasn't for relaxation," Cassie testified, her voice trembling. You could feel terrible things had happened there. She described shelves stacked with props masks, ropes, oils, rubber outfits, a rack of untouched clothes, mirrors coating the ceiling and floor, and soundproof padding on the walls. "It was built for captivity," she said, locked in a lightless room with only a wooden bench and chains dangling from the wall. Cassie endured 7 days and nights of torment. No food, just 1 bottle of water daily. Diddy's voice whispered through a speaker, demanding obedience. "I started to think I'd be trapped forever," she said. "I heard crying, whether real or in my head like trapped souls." The defense pressed her. "Did you ever see anyone else down there?" Cassie hesitated. "Yes," she said, describing 2 women in wigs and masks. One motionless on a couch, the other near a camera tripod. They didn't speak, they barely moved. He called them performers. By the 7th day, her spirit broken, Cassie sobbed through the door's crack, promising to be whatever Diddy wanted. He opened the door, his smile cold as a blade, and whispered, "Now you know who you belong to." She left the tunnel trembling, the stench clinging to her clothes. In court, she admitted she never told Anyoni not friends, not family, because she feared disappearing. "That's how it felt," she said, "like if I spoke I'd vanish like those girls in that room." Cassie's testimony revealed more chilling details. The tunnel wasn't just one room but a network of chambers. One had no light, just a bench and chains. Another had a full-length mirror and a digital panel by a bed, its purpose unclear. A third held only a chair and a box of wires. "Why speak out now?" the prosecutor asked. Cassie's gaze was steady yet trembling. "Because it's not just about me anymore. Because he hasn't stopped. Because if someone else gets dragged into that darkness and never comes back," her voice broke, choked by emotion. The courtroom fell silent, the weight of her words suffocating. The prosecution shifted to the freak-offs, a term that surfaced in texts between Cassie and Diddy.
The defense acknowledged that the videos of alleged freak-offs will be shown, but that those videos, they said, didn't come from the government's investigation so much as it came directly from Cassie's phone. But they were essentially trying to raise doubt about why did she hold on to these videos, and again making this argument that this case is about love and infidelity and money. But the prosecution is saying, no, you will hear from witnesses that will tell you that they were abused, they were kicked, they were punched, they were coerced to taking drugs and to performing sex acts. So this is only the beginning.
The 38-year-old.
The defense tried to paint her as a willing participant, but Cassie's voice was resolute.
Trafficking trial.
It'll be interesting to see how they react and respond to the alleged victim, Cassie Ventura, because she is expecting her 3rd child and is clearly pregnant. So how jurors will kind of see that or visually how they take that into consideration, we don't know, but really they're supposed to make sure that they stay fair and impartial and pay attention to the facts, which is something even the judge warned them about before they were official jurors.
They were planned nights, always centered on sex, sometimes with multiple people, sometimes filmed. He assigned roles, gave instructions. Sometimes drugs were mandatory. Texts shown to the jury revealed Diddy's chilling control. Game starts at 10:0 p.m. No breaking character until 8:0 a.m. Another read, "Bring candles, grab outfits. I want you in a wig." Cassie clarified. These weren't one-off events, but regular, often twice a month, meticulously arranged like business meetings. Agreeing when your mind is clouded by drugs isn't consent, she said. I was often high. Sometimes I didn't remember what I'd done. The prosecution revealed a text from Diddy. This time, I want total control. No safe word. Cassie testified she didn't always control her own body. Afterward, I felt hollow, she said. I wasn't sure who I was anymore. She deleted videos and photos out of fear, suspecting they were kept for leverage. He'd say, "You're mine forever," she recalled. Then I realized he was documenting everything to manipulate me. The defense asked if she'd seen these videos. Only once, briefly, on his laptop, she said. Me, 2 men, I didn't remember it happening. Diddy's response when she begged him to delete it? I keep everything for leverage. The prosecution introduced testimony from Mila Morales, a former makeup artist for Cassie and Diddy. Morales recounted a 2010 incident after a party at Prince's house during Grammy weekend. Diddy stormed into a hotel room where Cassie was, and yelling ensued. When he left, Cassie was distraught, with a swollen eye, a busted lip, and knots on her head. Morales took her to her home for safety, where a doctor friend suggested Cassie go to the emergency room, but she refused. Morales didn't call the police, fearing Diddy's power. I was scared for my life, she testified. Morales, who saw Cassie as a younger sister, never spoke of the incident again until recent media interviews, including one with CNN in May 2024. The courtroom screen displayed undeniable evidence: bruises, blood, a body scarred in silence. Cassie confirmed Diddy's physical violence, describing him gripping her wrist too tightly, shoving her during arguments, and worse. A photo showed a gash above her eyebrow from a night he thought she was cheating. He was drunk, paranoid, explosive, she said. I woke up to him, screaming, then just pain. Another incident involved Kid Cudi, who testified about his brief relationship with Cassie in 2011. Cudi alleged Diddy was behind a Molotov cocktail attack that damaged his Porsche and a break-in at his home, where security cameras were tampered with and his dog was locked in the bathroom. Though no direct evidence linked Diddy to these acts, Cudi's belief in Diddy's violent nature added weight to Cassie's claims. He thought we were involved, Cassie said of Diddy's obsession with Cudi, using it as an excuse to punish her. The prosecution highlighted hotel records from L'Hermitage in Beverly Hills, where Diddy's profile changed names multiple times: Sean Combs in 2006, Jackie Starr in 2009, Ryan Lopez in 2019. Notes from the hotel's file were chilling. Always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of oil. Place the room out of order upon deep cleaning. Another read. Authorize an extra $1,000 when guest stays to cover room damages. These details painted a picture of Diddy's stays as chaotic, excessive, and destructive, aligning with Cassie's accounts of the freak-offs. Joshua Croft, a computer forensics agent with Homeland Security investigations, testified about extracting data from Cassie's laptops. One was reset to factory settings, another showed a login for Frank Black, a pseudonym linked to Notorious B.I.G., often used for Diddy's hotel bookings. A third laptop, dented and bent, wouldn't power on, raising questions about what secrets it held. These findings, combined with FBI raids on Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami properties in March 2024, suggested a pattern of concealment. Cassie's control extended beyond the bedroom. Diddy called dozens of times if she left without checking in, smashing things if she didn't answer. She suspected he cut off her drug supply to keep her dependent. A failed attempt to enter rehab disguised as a spa visit ended when Diddy showed up, dismissing her pleas as drama. "I couldn't quit drugs alone," Cassie whispered in court. "Part of me still loved him, and a bigger part was terrified." She wasn't the only woman, she said. Escorts, strangers, even celebrities appeared at the freak-offs, some masked, some crying. Tiffany Red, a former friend, saw the horrors at Cassie's 29th birthday party and later wrote an open letter in Rolling Stone calling out Diddy's behavior. She tried to speak out, but she was silenced.